Oh, Dr. Les, Erev Tov, how are you?
Wow, Rav, have I got a few things to say? You don't mind? But wow, I've
Yeah,
been thinking
just
about
just
this. Okay.
let just there's more people just joining us. Let's just give them few minutes, Dr. Les, and then
I'm
definitely
ready. This might be one of the most important uh, messages, but it's really important for the New Year and for Yom
Baruch
Kippur. It's amazing.
Baruch Hashem, and tell me, are you ready for Sukkot? Did you build the sukkah?
Yeah, Baruch Hashem are getting ready. We're going to be with my daughter in Modi'in, but it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful
Oh,
as well.
that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's such a good news. Let me see who's with us. I see that Mark Schenker joined us, Stephen with us. There's more people coming. Let me just see who's with us. Okay, so I see Stephen Kabetsnik with us, Mark Schenker with us. Good. Hello, Mark.
Wonderful.
Hi, Rav.
Baruch Hashem. How's Eretz Israel? How's Eretz
Baruch
HaKodesh?
Hashem. Yom Yom.
Oh,
Terrific. Although I've only
Terrific.
been here for a day, but it's great.
wow.
It's great. No, אין כמו ארץ הקודש. Baruch Hashem. Baruch Hashem. I think that uh, because we have a load shedding, it will take for people a few minutes just to join us. Yes, so with pleasure. But you can say your message. Everyone gonna watch it. Bravo, Dr. Dr. Les?
Okay. So Mark Baruch haba. Okay, so Rav, wow, this has been the most incredible week that we've had.
Thanks, Liz.
You know, on Yom Kippur was the 50th anniversary of the Yom Kippur War, and what happened in Tel Aviv after Yom Kippur, we opened up our phones and we saw the atrocious, terrible sinat chinam that we've never witnessed before. In Dizengoff, there were a group of Yidden that wanted to share what Yom Kippur is with Am Yisrael, with Jews that are secular, that don't belong to a shul. So they had they were going to have a shul service, Erev Yom Kippur and Yom Kippur in Dizengoff, and they made a mechitza, and these extreme left-wing, anti-religious, but with the fervor, came to disrupt. They didn't want, it's not because of gender equality, or they came with a purpose to disrupt the service that they shouldn't. And when they're blowing the shofar, somebody said shame. It's horrendous beyond belief. Herzog, our president, came out and said this is a watershed in our history, because who would believe that in Tel Aviv you could have other Jews that have such a bordering on hatred for our religion? And it was really a terrible shame. I have a Holocaust survivor that's married to somebody from America, who's not one bit religious, and she posted a picture on her Facebook that she went to her shul in the area, and they stood outside waiting for the shofar. So most Israelis do want to hear the shofar. They do want to have some connection, but you have a small group of very, very virulent anti-religious and anti-Israel, that they just self-hating, unfortunately. So that was a little bit sad, and we just hope and pray that sense will prevail. But I think the vast majority, condemned their actions. It was really horrific, and it was sad, because that's how we're starting the new year. But there's also some unbelievable news. On Friday, I don't know if you are aware, in the House of Commons in Canada, the Canadian head of the parliament there, Anthony Rota, invited a Ukrainian Canadian, and he got a standing ovation. He's 98 years old. His name is Yaroslav Hunka. It turns out that he volunteered into the Waffen SS. He volunteered to fight in Hitler's murderous, genocidal army, and here he was admitted to Canada after the war, which also asks many questions. How could Canada have admitted so many Nazis, which they did? And then they not go, and they gave him a double standing ovation in the parliament, with Trudeau, the Prime Minister, and with Zelensky. Only later did they find out that this person that they gave a standing ovation, the whole of the parliament, is actually a Nazi. He volunteered to be a Nazi. So the president of the House of Commons, he's actually resigned, and Trudeau has apologized profusely. But can you believe this? It's unbelievable. And now we also got this week, and I think this is in the SA Jewish report, that a letter has been made public from a Jesuit priest to Pope Pius XII, saying that what's happening in Poland, how the Jews are being killed. So when they say the Vatican didn't know, we've got the evidence that they did know, that this Pope knew and did absolutely nothing, and the church wants to make him into a saint. It's unbelievable. But Rav, I'm going to go into the positive and then I'm going to end. The most incredible positive news is that you had Saudi Arabia are edging forward for their normalization with Israel, and they invited, the first time that a minister in the government in Israel, Chaim Katz, was invited to Saudi Arabia on an official visit. So that's an incredibly positive development. And this, I think, is the most amazing thing. It's breaking news today. Israel signed it was a military deal with Germany. Imagine 80 years later, it's the biggest deal. It's 3.5 billion euros to sell the Arrow 3. And they had signed also a deal to sell the David Sling to Finland. But what's amazing is that Israel is now helping Europe defend themselves. Can you believe it? Israel, that 80 years ago when the Jews were defenseless, are now selling arms to Europe in order that Europe can defend themselves. Can you not believe how Hashem runs this world and how things are hafuch? Totally. It's just unbelievable. But it is, we're living in such incredible times that who would believe that Israel would be asked with their technology and with their genius to try and defend Europe, and they signed the biggest deal selling the Arrow 3 to Germany. So Rav, we are living in miraculous times, and we just hope for shalom, and that this festival of Sukkot just usher in only all of Hashem's brachas. And we see the brachas, and we just have to be strong and be united. And instead of sinat chinam, we have to have ahavat chinam.
Shukra, Dr. Les, thank you very much.
I'm sorry it was so long, Rav. I'm sorry it was such a long one, but I think it's incredible, this news. It's absolutely incredible.
Shukra. Thank you very, very much, Dr. Les. Anyway, we're going to start the show. I would like to dedicate the show in a soul of Esther Kaden Bat Kitzia, Mordechai Ben Rahma, Rav Avraham Haim Ben Eliezer Yaakov, Tamar Bat Zehava Yaakov Salomon Ben Farhad, Dvorah Ruth Bat Beila, Shosha Blima Bat Mordechai Betzalel, Malka Regina Bat Joya, Keti Gurgia Bat Farha. I also would like to dedicate the shiur in health of Menashe Naji Ben Farha, Liora Bat Miriam, Harav Moshe Ben Bahia Batia, Harav Moshe Ben Devora, Harav Shlomo Yehuda Ben Dalia, Harav Avraham Ben Marina, Devora Bat Esther, Sheina Keila Bat Hana, Mordechai David Ben Leah, Haim Nahum Ben Pesareza, Ahuva Kaden Bat Tali Esther, Baruch Ben Sarah, Hiena Tzvi Ben Hava, Shmuel Meir Ben Shosha Blima, Yehuda Hillel Ben Shulamit Leah, Ruth Bat Aliza, Moshe Avram Ben Henariva, Haya Tzipora Bat Rachel, Ayala Eden Bat Rivka, Tova Liba Bat Rachel, Yoshua Haim Ben Hayalea, Hannah Masha, Rivka Bat Zelda, Velea Bat Rachel. Please God, רפואה שלמה to all of them, ולכל חולה ופצועה עמו ישראל בכל מקום שהם. רבותיי, we're going to speak about Sukkot, but before we start the show, I just want to mention something. This coming Sunday, I'm not going to give the show. It's going to be on a Monday night. I'm going to post it. I'm going to explain, because after Yom Tov, I think it's going to be too much of a tumult for people. And usually people after Yom Tov want a bit of a break, so we'll do it in Monday. This coming Monday, Be'ezrat Hashem, will be the shiur Monday Chol HaMoed. Okay, we're going to speak about Sukkot. We are less than 24 hours before we're going to sit in a Sukkah, Rabotai. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Adin is behind us. The day of judgment is behind us. Yom Kippur, the day that HaKadosh Baruch Hu write and seal the people for the verdict, also behind us. And we're hoping that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wrote us, sealed us in a book of life, in a book of good life, book of good prosperity, book of good health, book of good wealth, Be'ezrat Hashem, Bnei Hayom Zoneh, Be'ezrat Hashem. Rabotai, it says something very interesting in Sefer Vayikra in Parashat Emor. In Parashat Emor, in chapter 23, verse 40, it says, Usmahtem lifnei Hashem Elokechem shivat yamim. Something very interesting say in Sefer Vayikra. That means Hazal explained to us that the Torah tells us that we have an obligation to be besimcha on Hag HaSukkot. And the question becomes, every festival we have to be besimcha, we have to be in joy and happiness. Why is Hag HaSukkot is a special festival that we have to be happy? What's so special about Hag HaSukkot from any other festival that we have? What, is Hag HaSukkot different to any other festival? Yes, it's different that we sit in a sukkah, we take the 4 species, but every festival is important. As a matter of fact, the Hag Pesach, we should be the most in joy and happiness. Why? Because that's the beginning of the freedom of the nation of the Jewish people. That's when we become, or even Hag HaShavuot, that we receive the Torah. That's when we become a nation. So why Dafka Hag HaSukkot? Rabotai, there is a secret here. There is a secret behind why Dafka Hag HaSukkot. Dafka in Hag HaSukkot, we have to be in joy and happiness. I saw a beautiful commentary that brought by Arav Ovadia Yosef and many other mefarshim bringing it, but I saw it in the name of the late Arav Ovadia Yosef. Arav Ovadia Yosef, just to give you a quick introduction, he born in Baghdad, in Iraq, 103 years ago. He was the chief rabbi of Israel for many years, and then he was one of the big posek of the Sfaradim in Israel, and many people follow him. Until today, he's psakim. And he says something very interesting. He said, look at it. He said like this. In the month of Elul, all the Jewish people have the idea of that's the month of Chodesh Arachamim Ve'Aselihot. It's the month of mercy, compassion, and forgiveness. That means that all of us, daven, we all ask for forgiveness. The Sfaradim start doing slihot from the beginning of the month. Our brothers, the Ashkenazim, start 10 days, the week before Rosh Hashanah, 10 days before Rosh Hashanah, depends how it works, but usually it's a week before Rosh Hashanah. Okay, what's happening here? He says something very interesting. He says on Rosh Chodesh Elul, all the Jewish people ask for forgiveness, ask for compassion to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to have mercy and compassion on us. What happened? On Hag, Rosh Hashanah, when we reach to Rosh Hashanah, what's happening in Rosh Hashanah? In Rosh Hashanah, we done tshuva from fears. On Yom Adin, in the day of judgment, what we done atonement from fear. Why? Because we was afraid. Chazal in the Gemara in Masechet Yoma in page Pei Vav Amud Bet, that's mean 86 folio 2. Chazal tell us something very interesting. Chazal tell us like this: how to say tshuva mira, a person that do tshuva, okay, doing repentance because he afraid, zdonot ne'esot lo keshgagot. What does it mean? A person that done sin, okay, it spoke lashon hara, he, I don't know, didn't keep 100% kosher, whatever the case is, that means donot, that averot that the person do on purpose. Okay, not by mistake, that he doing it on purpose. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will turn those averot, because he done tshuva now, like he done it by mistake. He didn't mean to do it. Okay? That's what Hazal explained to us in the Gemara. Come Rav Ovadia Yosef and say, but in Sukkot, we have a different mitzvah. What is the mitzvah? We have a mitzvah, usmahten. That means that you should be happy on your festival. He said, what is the mitzvah that in the time that Beit HaMikdash was exist? What is one of the mitzvot that they have to do? He said that they used to go to the stream of the Shiloah. They used to draw water. They used to bring it up to Beit HaMikdash. And they used to pour an altar in a corner of the altar. That's called Nisuch HaMayim. Okay? They used to pour water. He says, what have we done in Rosh Hashanah? In Rosh Hashanah, we done tshuva that because we was frightened. We gone, we daven, we done even tashlich. What did we done in tashlich? V'tashlich bin chulot yam kol hatutam. What does it mean? That we bring in the verse from the prophet Micha, and it said there that we should throw into the depths of the sea all our sin. Say, Rav Ovadia, look what you're doing, exactly the opposite on Sukkot. On Sukkot, you go to the stream of the Shiloah, you draw water, and now you're bringing it where? To the altar. Why? He said, I'll tell you why. Because in Hag Sukkot, everyone doing mitzvot besimcha. Everyone do mitzvot, he's happy. Everyone build a sukkah. Everyone go and get the arbat aminim, the 4 species. Everyone happy with the mitzvot. People choose beautiful etrog. People choose a beautiful 4 species. They doing tshuva me'ahava. That means that they're doing repentance from love. Chazal in the Gemara and the Masechet Yoma in the same page, 86 folio 2, say ha'oseh tshuva me'ahava. A person that do tshuva me'ahava, that means that he doing repentance because he love HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not because he afraid what punishment gonna be. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will turn zdonot na'esot lo keschuyot. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu will turn those sin that he done, he turned them to mitzvot. So we say in Sukkot, we're running to where? To draw water from the Shiloah, from the string of the Shiloah, to turn, to receive, to collect those averot that we thrown in Rosh Hashanah. Why? Because all of those averot that we have all year around, we throw them in tashlich. Now we go and collect them to turn them to mitzvot. Why? Because in the festival of Sukkot, we're doing tshuva me'ahava. Everyone so feel pure after Yom Kippur. Immediately people start building sukkah. Everyone go and look for 4 species, decorating the sukkah. He said that Hag Sukkot, you know why we're happy? Because all of those averot that we done and we throw them in tashlich, and Hag Sukkot, what people used to do, they used to go and draw the water. They used to bring it where? To the Mizbeah. Now we want back those averot that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give us extra credit. We're going to get credit for those averot that we done. Why? Because in Sukkot, we're doing repentance from love. And that's why we should be in Simcha, Dafka and Hag Sukkot. That's one of the ideas. I would like to move on to a different subject. One of the things that we do in Sukkot, we put schach. The most common schach that we use is a palm tree. Although I have to explain that any leaf, doesn't have to be a palm leaf. Any leaf is kosher to make a sukkah from, as long that it doesn't have fruit and it's not connected to the ground. Okay? Any leaves, okay, that you cut from any tree, as long that it doesn't have a bad smell, doesn't give a bad smell, because there's some trees that they give a bad smell. But any trees that you can be underneath and you can feel comfortable, it's kosher to cover the sukkah, to do a schach for the sukkah. But one of the common thing is to use a palm leaf. Why dafka palm leaf? We have to understand that. So to understand that, we have to go to the Gemara in Masechet Sukkah. The Gemara in Masechet Sukkah, Mem Hey Amud Bet, that means 45, folio 2. Chazal tell us like this. Listen what it says. Ma tamar ze, en lo ela lev echad, af Yisrael en lahem lev echad, ela le'avim shebashamayim. What does it mean? Chazal tell us a parable that the Jewish people have one heart to their Father in heaven. The palm tree have only one heart. If you look at the palm tree, if you take the lulav, you take the palm tree, you'll see that there's only one thing in the middle. That means if you try to mix breed the dates, you can't. The date tree. Come to tell you that you know why we're using dafka, the palm leaf? It's the same like the palm leaf have one heart, and you can't mix breed it. You can't mix with other seeds or other trees. The same the Jewish people. You cannot mix them with other nations. Why? Because even if they're gone out of the way, they still love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Why dafka palm tree? There's another different idea. Chazal in a Zohar Hadash. Zohar Hadash is a new Zohar. It's a Zohar that's been found much later. They call it Zohar Hadash. It's an extra Zohar that they add up to what they found originally. And in Halak Gimel is regarding volume 3, let's call it, in page 103. 103, folio 2. There he said that, you know how the Zohar called the Sukkah? The Zohar called the Sukkah Tila de Minunta. What it means? Tila, it's the shadow. De Mehemnuta is the shadow of belief. Say the Mefarshim that here there is something very interesting. He's saying that the person that sits in a sukkah, it say, by the way, I saw it in Imre Noam. Imre Noam is a book that's been written by Rav Yoram Abargel. He said that the main reason that we cover the sukkah with a palm tree dafka, because the palm tree that we cover it, and you can't mix it with any other tree, okay? That tree, because it cannot mix, that's what can bring a person, okay, for us to the belief in the Almighty. By that we putting the schach as a palm, that's what bring the emunah on us in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's where the emunah come, that we believe, okay, that we're sitting in a shadow of emunah, the palm tree. Can you believe it? How the Zohar connected. Rabotai, I would like to move on. The word sukkah. If you do the gematria of the word sukkah, samech, vav, chav, hey, you're going to get the gematria of 91. Samech is 60, plus vav is 66, plus 20, that is chav, is 86, plus 5, 91. Hey of the sukkah is 5. Come and the Mekubalim and many of the people that wrote commentary on the Torah come to tell us something very important. What is the word sukkah, the gematria of the word sukkah represents? He said, if you take the two holy names of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has we have to understand that it's called Nei Shem Havaya. Shem Havaya, it's Yud K Vav K. Okay, Yud K Vav K. Shem Havaya. The Gematria, 26. Yud is 10. K is 5, is 15. Yud K. Vav is 6. Okay? 15 plus 6, 21. Again, K, that it's Gematria 5, 26. There is another name that called Adnut. Adnut is Aleph, Daled, Nun, Yud. What is the Gematria of it? 65. 65 plus 26 give us 91. Say the Mekubalim. What is the special about it? What is the secret behind it? They explain that if you take the Gematria of Sukkot, that it's 91, and the two holy name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we know, okay, and we're putting them together, it's both 91. To tell you that a Jew, when he built the Sukkah, the divine spirit of HaKadosh Baruch Hu come to the Sukkah. Rabotai, when we sit in a Sukkah, we know now, we're learning from here that the divine spirit come to the Sukkah. Isn't that amazing? And that's why there is a mitzvah to keep the holiness of the Sukkah. I would like to move on to speak about the importance of sitting in a Sukkah. In us, he tells us something very interesting. A person that sits in a Sukkah merit for a long life. That means a person that sits in a Sukkah during the festival of Sukkot is merit for a long life. How do we learn that? We learn that from the book of Echa. The book of Echa wrote by the prophet Yirmiyah. Okay? And it said there like this. Asher amarnu betzilo nehye. That we say that in his shadow we're gonna live. That means, said the Zohar in Parashat Pinchas, a person that sits in a sukkah merit or to extend his life. Isn't that amazing? Listen to what the Midrash Yalkut Shimoni said. The Yalkut Shimoni is a Midrash that's been written by Rabbi Shimon Ashkenazi. He born in Frankfurt, in Germany. It's not sure when exactly he born, but some people say he was Rishon, and some people say Kadmon, ancient. Some people say it was like over 1,000 years ago. It's not really sure when he was. And he said by that the person sitting in a sukkah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu guard him and protect him, listen to that, from every external enemies, and interior enemies. What's the difference between them? What is external enemies and what is internal enemies? Say the Midrash Yalkut Shimoni like this. He said the interior enemies, it's what a person have in himself. It's the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination that a person have in himself. A person like afraid of the evil forces. Okay, the demon. That's the internal enemies. Say, but it's not only that. You have a protection from what? From the external enemies. What is the external enemies? Hazal explained that that's robbers, all of those walking on two that love to cause problem, sickness that's coming to the world. If there is war in the world, those that sit in a sukkah can be protected from missiles and shooting, any war. And I would like to bring a source to it. In Tehillim, in chapter 27, we say something very interesting. Ki yatzpineni besuko beyom ra'a, yastireni beseter ohalo betzur yeromemeni. Say the Rabbi Shimon Ashkenazi, something very interesting. He said like this. From that verse, we learn that a person that merit to sit in a sukkah for 7 days, You have proper guardians, internal guardians and external guardians. He said that's the special of the important for a person to sit in a sukkah. There's another explanation that Hazal say like this. The Zohar in Parashat Tetzaveh. Listen to it, Rabotai, and try to remember. The Zohar in Parashat Tetzaveh saying that a person that sits in a sukkah and he finds himself after that, months or weeks, whatever the case is, days after that, after Sukkot, that he's in trouble, or during Sukkot, if he daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he'll say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you command me to sit in a sukkah, and I sat in a sukkah, I kept your mitzvah. In a merit of that, guard me from the danger that I am now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will protect him and save him from every danger. Listen what the power of sukkah. The Gaon Hida, Rabbi Haim Yosef David Azulai also bring that one of the protection that for a person that one protection from the evil inclination is the sukkah. The sukkah. The Zohar again say in Parashat Tetzaveh, listen to that, that if a person have a faribel, argument, or two kids and a family have a fight, whatever the case is, if they bring him into the sukkah together and they sit together in a sukkah, the merit of the sukkah can make peace between them. How do they learn that? He said, Upro Sukkot Shalomcha Aleinu. That means that the sukkah bring peace between fellow friends, fellow family members, a husband and a wife, and etc. That's the power of the sukkah. The Maharil Vail says something extraordinary. Who was the Maharil Vail? Maharil Vail was Rabbi Yaakov Halevi. Rabbi Yaakov Halevi ben Moshe Mulin. He born around 666 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He born in Germany in the city of Mainz. And he says something very interesting. He said like this, Hayoshev Basukkah, a person that sits in a sukkah, become Na'isa Shutaf LaKadosh Baruch Hu, become a partner to the Almighty. Who doesn't want a partner like the Almighty? Imagine that. Rabotai, listen, a person that sits in a sukkah, obviously it's a sukkah kshera, it's a kosher sukkah, become a partner to the Almighty. Which one of us can say, I don't want to become a partner to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, everything in his hand. And if you have a partner like this, what are you missing? What are you short with? Say the Maharil Vail, Rabbi Yaakov Halevi, when you sit in a sukkah, remember you become a partner to the Almighty. I would like to go, and I heard today yesterday, when I was preparing for the show, I read something very interesting. And I would like to share it with you. It's a remedy for us to know if our deed is that what the Almighty wants from us. I'll tell like this. There is a book that's called Shem Shmuel. Shem Shmuel, it was the Rabbi Shmuel Bornstein. Rabbi Shmuel Bornstein, born in the city of Kotsk in Poland. He born around 167 years ago, plus minus. He was the second Kotsk Rebbe. The Kotsk Rebbe, it's actually the Hasidut of Succot. Okay? In his book Shem Shmuel, he wrote a book, Shem Shmuel. And he wrote on a festival, when he spoke about the festival of Sukkot. Listen what he said. The person can realize and can work out if the action that he do, the deeds that he do, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu happy with his deeds or not. He said how? He said when a person entered the sukkah and he feel comfortable, relax, and he enjoy it, okay? And he love to be inside the sukkah, he must know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu have nachat ruach, יש לו נחת רוח ממעשיו. That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu love his deeds, feel comfortable. But when a person enters the sukkah, and lo alenu feel a bit squash, feel uncomfortable, he can't sit for too long in a sukkah, must understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't have any nachat ruach from his deeds. That means that his deed is not so good. Imagine that. The Kotzke Rebbe, the second Kotzke Rebbe, say, the feeling that you feel in a sukkah can interpret it if HaKadosh Baruch Hu love your deeds or doesn't love your deeds. Does HaKadosh Baruch Hu have nachat from your deeds or not? The way that you behave all year round. How's it? Like that, when you enter the sukkah, what is your feeling? Imagine that. What the Kotzke Rebbe revealed to us. Rabotai, there is something very interesting that I would like to end up. It's Succot Oro Shel Leviathan. What it means, Succot Oro Shel Leviathan? Hazal in the Gemara in Masechet Baba Batra, Ein Hei Amud Aleph. That means 75, folio 1. There it says something very interesting. It says like this, Atid HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'asot se'uda l'tzadikim mipsaro shel ha'Leviathan. That means, in the future, the Almighty will make a se'uda for the tzadikim from the skin or from the flesh of the Leviathan. Leviathan is the big whale. Few lines down on the same page, it says something very interesting. Atid HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'asot sukkah l'tzadikim me'oro shel Leviathan. That means, in the future, the Almighty will make a sukkah for the righteous from the skin of the Leviathan, the big whale. And come the Mefarshim and ask the famous question. How can a Kadosh Baruch Hu will make a Sauda from a whale? A whale is not a kosher animal. How can you make a sukkah from a non-kosher animal? Not only that, come the Zohar Kadosh and adding into it and say, listen, according to the Chachmei Asod, the mystical Rabbi explained that the whale, the big whale that HaKadosh Baruch Hu created, if you look at the creation, and Rashi said there that he created male and a female, HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed the female, okay, and left the male. There the Gemara explained what's happened when he's thirsty, how he drinks, how big he is. He's a huge whale. We never saw that whale. Come the Mefarshim and come the Zohar, the Chachmei Asod, and say, you know what the whale represents? The whale represents the Samech Mem, the evil forces that there is, the Satan, all the Yetzer Hara, that's him. So how can you make a sukkah? How can you make a meal from his flesh? Especially to who? To the tzaddikim nucha. How can it be? So I saw beautiful interpretation. And the interpretation that I heard, it's from Rav Shmuel Eliyahu. Rav Shmuel Eliyahu is the son of Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, the late Mordechai Eliyahu. And he explained the secret behind it. That in the future, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make, after he shech the Yetzer Hara, he'll make a sukkah from the skin of the whale. He make a se'oda from that skin. Come the Mefarshim and say, how can you make a se'oda from that? He said, when the Mashiach comes, that skin going to be allowed. We can eat it, not going to be a Yetzer Hara. But there's more depths into it. He said, there is here a rectification. For what? For the sin of Adam HaRishon. Rabotai, remember that. Rectification for the sin of Adam HaRishon. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Adam and Chava, Adam and Eve, the Adam and Hava was naked. What does it mean naked, Rabotai? We have to understand. Many people understand it wrong. Adam and Hava, the body was all light, complete light. When Adam and Hava eaten from the tree of knowledge, what does it say in Sefer Bereshit in chapter 3, verse 21? ויעש השם אלוקים לאדם ולאשתו כותנות עור וילבישם. That means that he turned their body to flesh, or flesh. He said like this. He said that Adam HaRishon, when I been created, before he sinned and eaten from the tree of knowledge, he was complete spiritual, all of him light. He was so bright, he was so spiritual, that he was so bright that the sun was dark compared to him, the light of the sun. We don't understand that. Se Hazal haya makhe hama. That his heel, just his heel, can be the light that comes from his heel, it's brighter than the sun. Imagine that. But after Adam and Hava eaten from the tree of knowledge, they become physical. If they become physical, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created for them on their body a skin. That's what we have today as what we call, every human being have today skin. That's the physicality. Okay? Until here, that's about Adam and Hava. What is the message here? What is the message of Sukkot or Rosh Hashanah? That we have in the festival of Sukkot, every Jew have to take on himself to work on his character trait. And every person know. That means every person know what his character trait. Inside himself, he know his weakness. Everyone know what his weakness. And in Hag HaSukkot, you have to turn those weaknesses to positive. Well, and let me give an analogy for us to understand. For example, when Yitzhak Avinu wanted to give the blessing to his kids, Yaakov Avinu took the clothes of Esav HaRasha. And with those clothes of Esav HaRasha, he received the brachot. That means that a person have to know in Hag HaSukkot, one of the most important things, how to turn the negative thing to positive. That means a person have to rectify himself and to work on himself and to turn the negativity to positivity. For example, a person that knows that he speak of Lashon Hara, a person knows that he steal, his jealousy, his anger, whatever the case is, he have to work on himself on Hag HaSukkot to turn those character traits and to work on himself and to turn them to positive. The same like Yaakov Avinu that took the clothes of Esav, and Esav was a Rasha. In that merit, he managed to receive the brachot. That's what each one of us have our job in Hag HaSukkot, to work on his character trait, to turn our negative character trait to positive character trait. For example, a person that knows that he have anger on him, or he have jealousy on him. Let's take the word jealousy. Because not everyone is anger. But jealousy, a lot of people jealous. Take that jealousy and turn it to positivity. How do we do that? Instead of looking what my friend have, turn that jealousy to try to strive to be extra Talmid Chacham. To try to be extra, to work on my Torah time to be extra Talmid Chacham. Every minute to be jealous, to try to study Torah. A person, let's call it, that speak Lashon Hara. How do you can work on your Lashon Hara? Instead of speaking Lashon Hara, every time that you want to speak, remember, speak about something else, something good. That positivity. The same with everything. A person that hates other people. Instead of hate, try to turn that hate to positive, to love. And if we turn our character trait to positive and Succot, that's the job that we have to do. That's our job. That's what they expect from us. Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should merit to work on one of the most important things in our life, Rabotai, is the Yetzer Hara that we have on us. And Yetzer Hara can be stealing, like I mentioned, Lashon Hara, hatred, jealousy. And the most important thing that we have to work on unity among us, that each one of us should work on his character trait to try to live in unity with another person. It's not easy because each one of us has different ideas. Each one of us look different to his friend. Each one of us is different to his friend. But our job is, with all of those difficulties, especially in Hag HaSukkot, try to work on our character trait. I maybe don't agree with his opinion, but I have to respect him. I know that what he's doing is not the right thing, but I have to respect. Maybe he have a different way of interpreting things. It's my job to try to correct him, but I have to do it with respect. We have to live with respect and unity one with each other. And once that we live in respect and unity with each other, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gonna see that we united. Although that we don't agree one with each other, we united, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will send us Mashiach Tzidkenu. And Be'ezrat Hashem, that we should all live in peace and unity together. And the mitzvah of Sukkot will help us to bring and to speed the redemption that we should see speedily in our day. Amen ken yeh ratzon. Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mehera b'yameinu. Amen ken yeh ratzon. Those of you that want to ask questions regarding Sukkot, regarding the mitzvah of Sukkot, if you have any question, or regarding the show, bechavod, unmute your microphone. Bechavod.
Good evening, Rav. Good evening.
Good evening. Ken, bechavod, bechavod.
How are you? You well?
Hashem, Jeffrey, Baruch Hashem, nice to see you with us.
Thank you. I think I'll get him first and stuff.
Okay, bechavod.
I think so. Talking when you mentioned about the Leviathan, the whale.
The whale,
yes,
the big whale.
The whale, yes. And at the time when the Yetzer Hara is going to be destroyed, we were making a special sukkah from the skin and what have you. Yeah. This was at that time, we are going to, as I said, there'll be no Yetzer Hara. The world will be as it was when Adam was created. It'll be in that type of world. And you mentioned that Adam was created with light. There was such blinding light. Him and Chava. There was
that's right.
Light. But it also answers another question, because it tells you Adam was formed by the dust of the ground. He wasn't created. So it's basically, you've answered the question. He was created with the light, but was formed by the dust of the. It's answered a massive question here. It was always worrying me, but you've answered that question. Now, is this the same light that is put aside for the tzaddikim?
Oh,
is it? Is it a connection between the Vayior, the light of creation, the light of Adam, and the...
Yeah, that's called the Oraganuz. What you're speaking about is the Oraganuz, nachon? The hidden light. That's called the Oraganuz. Hazal explained that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what is the Oraganuz? Oraganuz is a spiritual, divine light. What it means, divine light? That a person can see what's happening all over the world. It's like kind of Ruach HaKodesh. You understand?
Yes, yes.
And I want to tell you something else. Look what's happened. Hazal tell us, and not many people know it, that after Adam HaRishon eating from the tree of knowledge, Adam HaRishon lived for 930 years. Nachon? We know. Because 70 years of his life he given to David HaMelech, he was supposed to live for 1,000 years. For the first 130 years after he'd been created, listen to that carefully, he fought with Hava for the first 130 years. Not many people know that. Why? Explain the Mekubalim. That special light that was between them, Ha'arat Panim, disappear between them and they start fighting. What is that Ha'arat Panim? That means the special respect. That light is a respect. And that's what's so important to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that we live in unity. That special light disappeared from him and from his wife completely. And for 130 years, they used to argue and fight. Can you believe it? Do you understand the level of what's hiding behind it? That it was Sukkot. What Sukkot can bring, the light.
Oh, thanks for that, Rav. There's answered a long question of 50, 60 years of thinking about it. The light of he was created. Because it always said formed. It was formed from dust. It didn't say created at all. Male and female were created, but Adam was formed from the dust. So therefore, how was he created? He was formed, but you've answered it. The light. This amazing light, which we can tap into on Sukkot. Sure. Anyway, thank you. Well, it's going to make a difference to my Sukkot. Thank you.
Any other question regarding Sukkot? I'm happy that I've given you the answer after 50 years. Baruch Hashem.
Yes, and more.
I'm happy that's me. Baruch Hashem. Any other question, Rabotai? Question, if you can want to ask? No? Okay. Jeffrey, I want you to remind me when we're going to meet again.
Yep.
And ask me on Sunday when we're going to meet regarding Adam and Hava. Just remind me Adam and Hava.
Right.
How they used, because you're speaking about how did they been formed. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu created Hava.
Yep.
Remember.
Yeah.
Remind me, I'll explain to you deeper explanation to it. And that will help you to understand better what's
the creation.
Yeah, the creation. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Rabotai, thank you very much for joining us. Just before I say goodbye, no more question. Okay, thank you for joining us. I would like to wish all of you Chag Sukkot Sameach, that you enjoy sitting in the sukkah, enjoy your Arba Minim. I just have to explain that this year, the mitzvah of the 4 species, Arbaat Minim, it's not from the Oraita, it's Miderabanan. Mitzvah Arbaat Minim, it's a rabbinical mitzvah, because the first day of Sukkot fall on Shabbat, and the 4 species are muktzah on Shabbat, as you all know. Therefore, we can't use them. So we use them on the second day. The second day is Sunday, and that's a rabbinical day. It just, the reason that we're carrying the lulav and the 4 species, the lulav, the etrog, the hadas, and the arava, it's zarak zecher lamikdash, and merit That's what they used to do in the Mikdash. But when are we obligated to take it? That means the first day of Sukkot, it's a positive command from the Torah. But after that, the performing of the mitzvah of shaking the lulav and etrog this year is going to be only from Rabbanan. So don't forget on Friday before Shabbos to tear the plastic that there is, the aravot and the adasim, because on Sunday you can't tear the aravot and adasim to tear the plastic. So do it before Shabbos. So it will be ready. It will be ready for you for Sunday morning when you take in the lulav and etrog to shake it in a shul. In the meantime, I would like to wish all of you Chag Sameach, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for joining us. And the shiur again will be on Monday, Be'ezrat Hashem, Monday night. We'll do a shiur on Chag Sukkot. We explain more in depth secret of Chag Sukkot. In the meantime, Erev Tov, have a good night, beautiful night. Chag Sameach, all the best. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Good night.